So this was one of those conversations with the wife that starts out with, "Oh, what have you brought home now?" I was faffing about on Craigslist, and I went to boats, as I do, and I typed in cedar, which I do, and this thing popped up, and I immediately recognized it. I'm just going to turn it over. I built this nearly 30 years ago, 1995, thereabouts. Just when we were starting out as Brewery Creek Small Boat Shop, and we were contracted to build a small fleet of baidarkas for a film called Alaska, directed by Fraser Heston. You can probably find it on YouTube. And we built this. This wasn't finished, so it became part of the set dressing of the boat shop in which some of the scenes are filmed. So come take a look at this thing. It's I literally, when I saw the ad, I immediately recognized it. It's from, I believe, well, it's from David Zimmerly's book, Kayak. And it's adapted from the lines of a boat which is, I'll look it up and include in the comments which historical collection it's in now, whether it's in Leningrad or down in California. And if it was Megalopolis or Lantis who collected this thing, I can't remember. But it was taken from a 2-hatch baidarka. We'd added a 3rd hatch because that's what the customer wanted for gear. And as you can see, we were still acting very much under the influence of George Dyson's wonderful book, Baidarka, in that the cockpit rims were made from braided nylon, lashed with artificial sinew, which is nylon because it stretches. The polyester nylon, polyester sinew doesn't stretch. But yeah, so I saw it. The fellow lived on the other side of town. I felt a little tiny bit guilty because I was heading over there to waste his time, really, to look at it and reminisce and everything else. And after a bit of conversation, he knew who I was, but a bit of conversation, he'd had this. He wasn't the first or second owner, but he'd had this for like 12 or 15 years. And he'd done some remarkable trips in it with his son and his partner. I mean, from Vancouver up to Gambier and further, I mean, up to Lasqueti. Some really, really ambitious and successful trips. So yeah, if you look inside, I mean, it does need work. Particularly, you can see there, but you can see a broken rib here. A lot of the ribs are broken. That one, the backbone. We have a broken stringer here. But even so, in that condition, he was taking this thing out. So what I'm thinking, because at the end of the conversation, you can see he was moving to a place where he couldn't possibly store it. He'd been dragging it around from apartment to apartment, hoping to find a place to work on it. Never did. So he basically, at the end of our conversation, said, "Yeah, here, just take it." So it's going to sit here next to the shop until the warmer weather, and then off will come the skin. And this is ballistic nylon, the stuff that still originally was available from George Dyson. Now it's from Spirit. You can get it from Spirit Line Kayaks, and just many coats of like industrial grade floor varnish. But it seems to have still been watertight. I mean, there's a bit of abrasion. But yeah, come warm weather, the skin comes off. We'll pick the seams, because one thing we can find out, voyage of exploration, can we recycle an old skin? Because the nylon's been shrunk. Can it be used again? But take the skin off, replace the yellow cedar ribs with ash or white oak ribs. Add, I think, at least one more stringer on either side, because if I remember looking at the original drawings for the museum, these things had at least 3 stringers on either side. We've only got 2 there. And then skin it up again. I mean, the bow, I might redo this bow. You can see even here we were a bit influenced by Dyson. He was doing quite a dragon prow at the time in the early 70s. So, and this is obviously broken. It's evidently broken right here. But carve a new bow piece, possibly not to that shape, possibly something more like an Unalaska boat or an Aleut Island. They all have different shapes. The remarkable thing about these bows, because when we were building these things, when we were at boat building school, everyone would always ask why the double bow. Well, given the materials of membrane this case nylon, but before that sea lion skin, stretched over wood. This gives you a sharp cutwater, but it also gives you buoyancy forward of the water line, the bow wave. And remarkably, it also acts like the ram you see in a modern freighter or a cruise ship, in that it sets up a, when properly constructed, it sets up a wave which is directly out of phase with the bow wave, cancels it out, which is why these things, historically, Captain Cook and the Russian explorers were recording these things as going faster than the theoretical hull speed. Remarkable speeds. So yeah, I haven't paddled for years, but I think we'll restore this thing. The gunnels are good. The keel, over 21 feet, the keel's out. It's slightly bowed, but it's less than an inch. It's a finger's width, 3/4 of an inch. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with this. It's not like I have nothing else to do with my time. Anyhow, happy Christmas, a good Yule, and a good New Year to you as well.